Welcome to my Tinkers 1.16 mod showcase. So, basically I'm going to cover early game, somewhat mid game, then more late game smelting stuff. To start off with Tinkers, you'll want to make this. A crafting station. Now it's pretty easy, you just need a pattern. And to make a pattern you need sticks and planks, and you'll get 3. So once you have that, you'll notice that it's a little different from a crafting table because it can hold items. So if I do that, it's still there. And then I can put it back and I can use it like a normal crafting table. The other thing that's interesting about Tinker tool stations is that you'll notice these tabs. So each one of these, since they're all next to each other, are connected. So say I want to use this. I just go to the part builder. Or say I want to go to the Tinker station, I can just use the tab. The other thing that you can do is you'll notice how all of these are down here. And they're all crafting stations. And they're the same one. I can switch between recipes if I need to. And it's just generally really useful. The next part you'll want is the Tinker Station. This allows you to make the tools for tinkers, but I'm not really going to be going over that in this episode. Or, yeah, no. I just want to focus on how to do the basics. Then you'll want a part builder. This is what it looks like. It functions somewhat similarly to a stone cutter. It's a little different from 1.12 Tinkers, if you're familiar with that. And then we have these 3. Now, if you're familiar with 1.12 Tinkers, these you'll recognize some of these, but not all of these. These are chests. In Tinkers, this is fairly familiar. You can put stuff in them. But these two over here are somewhat new. So you have the normal part chest, and you can put parts in those. So when you make tools, you'll want probably to store the parts if you make an accidental one, or if you just have more than you need, you'll just put them in here. And then you have this, the modifier chest. Here's where you put modifiers for your tools. And I just put a couple in here as an example, just to show you. And then you have this, the cast chest. So casts are a part of the forge, and I'll get to that later. But it's good to have this. Then you have this. If you're familiar with Tinkers 1.12, you're probably wondering what a Tinker's Anvil is. This just replaces the tool forge, and it's called the Tinker's Anvil. Now, since this is Tinkers 1.16 is like in development, you'll notice there's a couple things that aren't here. So things like the lumber axe and like shurikens, they're not here. Now, for things like shurikens, darts, bows, pretty sure those have been removed. That's what the patch notes have said. But I didn't see anything about the lumber axe, so that may come back. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I build that? This is the forge, but in Tinkers 1.16, they changed it. Now you need a small forge. It requires a heater and a melter. They're crafted like this. The seared melter, this part, and the seared heater. That's how you craft those. Now, to craft these, you need seared bricks. And you get seared bricks from taking grout, which can either be crafted like this, or like this, and putting that in a furnace, or, if you wanted to, you could even put it in here to double the output. But I'm assuming if you're making these, you don't have this. So what you normally do is you just put these in a furnace and smelt them, like you would iron or something. Then you take out the bricks and use those to craft this. Now, this requires a seared gauge, and you make that like this. The next thing you'll notice is there's this little faucet and a basin. This is how you actually take the materials out of here and use them. And this will be important for the bigger forge, which you need the smeltery controller. Now, you'll notice to make the smeltery controller, you need to put the seared heater and pour copper on it. 4 ingots. Now, to do that, I find it's kind of simple to just take 2 of these, and however much coal you need, you put the coal in here, and then you can put 2 of these in here. Now, what all you'll need to do is you put the seared heater, you just right-click it into the basin. Then once these melt, you should have... Hold on, let me cook some more. You should have enough, eventually. And so you pour that on that. You'll notice something really cool happening here. It hasn't turned into the smeltery controller, but if I do this, it should now. That's because any liquids you pour into the basin will stay. That's good to know if you accidentally pour something in there, or if for the small thing like this, it makes it so you can pour much larger things than this capacity can hold by just storing it in the basin. And now you'll see we have the smeltery controller. Now we move on to the actual big smeltery. This is probably what you'll be using for a majority of the game once you have it. And compared to 1.12, Tinkers, a couple important things have changed. Now, the first noticeable thing is the way you obtain this block. Before, you just used seared bricks, but now you need copper. So this is about just a tad bit more complicated. You'll also notice, for drains, this is how you get the materials out of this forge. Instead of just attaching it to the controller itself, you use the drains and you put these into the forge. Now, to build a forge, you need a couple basic things. You'll need a tank, which you make by surrounding glass by seared bricks. You'll need bricks or stone. Pretty much all of these kind of blocks you can use as a part of the smelter, as you can see here. So it works perfectly fine. And what you can do is you can build it. So you start with a base, and then you go out. And then here you can place either the controller, a tank, whatever you want to put here, you place that there. Then you just go around the edge. And basically, this should be a valid smeltery now. And if I were to put ores in here, it wouldn't actually smelt. So, it's just a bigger version of that. And you'll notice if I put any of these items, and you can smelt all of these. This is the main use of the forge. You can double ores. So let's say I want to get 2 ingots. You'll notice not enough heat. Okay, how do you get the heat? What you do is you get lava. Lava or molten blaze. Now, molten blaze is a new smelting material for 1.16, and the way you get it is you need to basically put a blaze in your smeltery, but for the simplicity of this, say I just want to use lava. Pretty basic, not too hard to get. You'll notice this iron is now smelting in the forge. And after you give it a bit, you should get 2 ingots. There you go. Now, if you want to actually use these ingots, this is where the cast chest actually becomes important. You'll notice with this casting table, which is made like this, I can place down an ingot cast. Now, to make a cast, what you do is you put gold in here. So let's get like this much gold. We put gold in here, and then we get something like a brick or an ingot, and we put it right here. You just right-click it onto the table. Once it's done smelting, see we got 4 ingots, you just left-click to bring the gold to the bottom, so you can use it. All the items at the bottom of the smeltery will be used first. So say I want a brick cast, right? I just want a regular ingot cast. I do that, and boom, ingot cast. Now what I can do, say I want one of the 2 iron ingots. I just right-click the valve, and then there it is. I have now successfully gotten 2 iron ingots out of 1 iron ore, which is nice. And say I wanted the blazing liquid, and that will be used to craft alloys. I'll get in more in those, but there's a couple unique things you'll notice. So see, he's dying, and boom, I have molten blaze. Now, I want at least a bucket if I want to use it, and what I would do is I would go back to this table. I would just wait till I have at least 1,000 millibuckets worth, and then I would pour it onto my bucket. And then once I do that, I should have a bucket full, and that allows me to use it as a fuel source. You'll see here, 1 bucket. And if I make sure this is at the bottom, which it is, I right-click this, I pour it into the bucket. And then boom, molten blaze bucket. Now, I just deposit similarly as I would into... Okay, let me empty that. There we go. So we get our seared tank, and this is our fuel source, by the way, if I didn't make that clear. You put fuel inside this tank. And for this instance, we want molten blaze, because it burns at a higher temperature than others, which is good. You want that. And so now you'll see we have molten blaze temperature 1500. And that's good. That allows you to create more advanced alloys. Now, one thing you'll notice about tankers, which is very useful for 1.16, is that this is how you make a normal netherite ingot. You need 4 netherite scrap, 4 gold. If you wanted to make 1 ingot with tankers, you just need molten blaze, 1 gold ore, 2 ancient debris, and then we... Okay. Ignore this gold. We should get precisely 1 ingot of netherite. Right here. 1 ingot. And it'll show up in the forge. There it is. See? 1 ingot. And then we just get the ingot cast, place it down, then pour it out. And we should get netherite. Easy. Now, you can make all sorts of alloys with unique properties, and all of these can be used as beacon bases. So, say, for example, you wanted this, slime steel. What you would do is you get 2 seared bricks, 1 iron ore, 2 slime balls, and you get 2 slime steel ingots if you have at bare minimum just a lava bucket. And this applies for things such as Tinker's Bronze, which you need glass, and 3 copper, at minimum, lava. If you wanted rose gold, you can get copper, 3, 1 gold ingot, and a lava bucket. For pig iron, you need clay, blood, and iron. At least lava. Now you're probably wondering, how am I gonna get blood in here? What do I have to do to get that? What you do is you take mobs. This is a new feature, somewhat. So in 1.12 Tinkers, if you're familiar with it, you could notice that you could put mobs in here and you get blood sometimes. Now, you can put all sorts of things. You can put Enderman, you can put a Guardian, put Creepers, and even Blaze. And if you put pigs, or most animals give you blood, but Endermen, Guardians, Creepers, and Blaze give you different things. Endermen give you Molten Ender. Guardians will give you Seared Stone. Creepers give you Molten Glass, and you'll get blood from most animals. So here's how you can get blood. Like all of these, you can get blood from if you put them in. You'll get different amounts. Some give more than others. But basically, it functions in the premise that you put stuff in there, you get stuff out. Pretty much everything here. You could even put the Wither in here, and you can get Molten Soul. But I will warn you, if you do that, your forge may explode. So, just be warned. If you want Manulium, you use Cobalt, which is found in the Nether. Hello. Well, I guess he wanted to visit. Any hoozles. Put Cobalt. And netherite scrap. You put that in there with this ratio, and you'll get 4 Manulium ingots, but it has to have at least Molten Blaze. And so basically, you find Cobalt in the Nether. It's a new ore. It's the only ore in the Nether that Tinkers adds. You can make Hepatizen, which is obsidian, 2 copper ingots, and 1 cobalt ingot. And you will get 2 of these. And then you can get Queen Slime, which is 1 magma cream, 1 cobalt ingot, 1 gold ingot, at least this level, and you'll get 2. Why would you want to use these materials? That's for tool building, and if you're interested in that, then I guess I can make a separate video, but I'm not an expert in that field. When it comes to ore generation, there's only 2 that actually generate. You get cobalt ore, found in the Nether. You get copper ore. This is found in like caves and other various locations. For stuff like slime, as you'll notice in recipes such as... Let me find one. Mainly just this. Say you want Queen Slime. Or... basically, say you want like this, a slime slime. You can do this with that. Pretty nice, but how do you get it? Well, you need some form of congealed slime block. And then you need slime balls. Now you're probably thinking, I don't find slimes all the time. Hey, what's that? This, in Tinkers, is how you're probably going to get the majority of your slime. You'll notice they spawn up here, and they kind of just jump down. Never to be seen ever again. These slime islands spawn slimes and contain these trees. These trees, when you break them, instead of wood, will have slime blocks. And instead of, like, anything else, they'll have, like, these slimy leaves. you use these to make all the materials. This, for example, is a blue slime island. You can either find a green, a sky slime, which is the blue one. This is a sky slime island. You can find a green island, which has these. Or you can find an ender slime, which you find in the end. You can find ichor, found in the nether. And basically you just take these and you use them for their materials. I hope this was helpful. If there's any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Keep in mind this mod is updating for 1.16, so this may not be relevant by the time you actually see it. But hopefully it was. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.